This is Croydon. I'm in the park. There's a train. So my laptop's still broken, so I thought rather than so I can't do any writing or work on my lunch break, I thought I'd try and make a video, which I don't think is going to work, but let's give it a go anyway, just in case. I wanted to make a video because there's been a sort of interesting development on the web series. So the web series is called Paz vs Stuff. You can search for it on YouTube, and you should find it from that. And on Monday we posted a video that was Paz talking about being trolled. She's being trolled by the antagonist Pigman, who is also a fictional character. So as Pigman, I've been leaving kind of obnoxious comments on her videos, trolling myself essentially. And Pigman's also got his own channel where he's posted some very strange videos, and if you can make it to the end of the last video he posted, he's actually posted he's included a picture of Paz in the video. It's kind of the first time he's kind of addressed her directly. So Paz posted a video talking about this and being quite sort of upset about it. For me, when I wrote it, it was like, well, we're now into the story. Like I sort of imagined it would be obvious that we're into a web series now, because the Pigman's quite a heightened character, I suppose. So I don't know. At the same time, I mean, obviously, when we're filming, I want it to be as realistic as possible. So there's an element of realism. Anyway, we've had quite an amazing response. Although I also wonder if we've sort of crossed the line. So Paz asks for help from the audience at the end of the video. We've had over 400 views in a space of just over 24 hours, really. I mean, which is the most we've ever had that quickly. It's not the most we've ever had overall, but it's the most we've ever had that quickly. I thought it'd be a popular one because I've done some research on videos where people talk about being trolled or being harassed online, and they do seem to be quite popular, I think, because it's quite a topical subject, and I guess other people who have had the experience kind of interested. I think there's an aeroplane or something going across now as well. I do think there's a sort of drama element to that. Like, I don't think it's just people sort of clicking on it because it's because they're being sort of trolled themselves. I think there's a kind of, well, this is someone talking about real drama, and I think there's a sort of element of that. Anyway, the responses are so we've had like loads of responses, like over 50 comments, and again, it's also the speed of the response that's been interesting. We've never really had anything like that before, and I say we, sort of, I mean, there are more people involved. It's mostly me. If I say we, it makes me feel better about it. And I guess, like, some of the responses have been quite emotional in their content. Some people have been quite concerned. There have been a few people who've checked out Pigman's videos and then messaged Paz on Twitter to say this guy is clearly quite disturbed, and maybe you should call the police. Sorry, I had to stop because I had a phone call about my laptop, so it's good. Okay, so where was I? Paz has had an email from someone who I thought kind of was in on it, as someone who seems to be running a similar thing where they've got a channel and they seem to be it's less kind of, it's not doing exactly the same thing as Paz, it's more obviously a web series, but I kind of thought that because they were doing a similar thing and they've got a character, and that character has left comments on Paz before, but I got an email from them saying they wanted to break character to check that everything was okay, and left quite a sort of heart-wrenching story about their own experiences being trolled. And yeah, I'm sort of, I guess I wanted to post it because I'm not sure how I feel about all that. In the the first draft of the script, there was an element of the story that was I removed because I thought it was too kind of sensitive and controversial. It wasn't really what the point of the series was. The idea the reason I put it in originally was because I wanted Paz to lie about something very serious, but the main reason I took it out, apart from it being a bit crap to be honest, was that I sort of didn't want people to respond to that as if it was real, and then to find out it was fake and get upset. And now, in a way, for some reason, I didn't think the trolling thing would have the same impact. I guess because I thought people would be onto the fact it was a web series by now, but it sort of has. And yeah, it's kind of, I mean, all credit to Cheryl, the actress who plays Paz, because it's obviously I know it's a really good performance. I find it hard to tell whether how easily people will buy into it or not. And obviously, for the most part, people have. So that's really good. Like, I mean, in terms of what we set out to do, that's really good. In terms of how I feel about that from a moral point of view, it's tricky. I guess I'm trying to put myself in the mind of someone who has left a kind of bared their soul about some experiences they've had, and then finds out that the person they bare their soul to doesn't exist. On the other hand, I mean, there is based on stuff that's really happened to me and to other people I know. I guess the fact that I'm like reluctant to go into the whole story is as part of the reason I feel uneasy about the whole thing, I suppose. But yeah, so I guess there's not really a point to this. I don't think I've really made a decision. It's not like I've decided to abandon the whole thing. I mean, I guess that wouldn't be the logical conclusion. The logical decision would be to make it more obvious it's fake, and I think in the next video, hopefully it will be, because based on what people have said, Paz's decision of what she's going to do about this isn't really in keeping with what people have suggested, and is quite a sort of bold move, I suppose. It's just weird to go from, on the one hand, being like, oh, this is exciting, like loads of people have responded to this video, we've got loads of views, to then thinking, have we gone a bit far? Because there is an element of kind of playing with people's emotions at this stage. At some point I've got to go through and respond to all those comments as Paz, which I'm sort of not totally looking forward to. I mean, part of me was like, isn't this what I wanted? And having now sort of got that to a degree, it feels a bit sort of things that I thought I was okay with from an ethical standpoint, I'm beginning to be less okay with. I mean, you look at Lonely Girl 15, which is sort of the template for this. There was a point where that was a story about a girl whose parents were about to do something quite dark and messed up to her, but once you find out what that thing is, I mean, essentially they were Crowley worshippers, so it's a spoiler if you haven't watched any of Lonely Girl 15. So yeah, that pushes it to an extreme where you're like, well, this is clearly a story. One person, on watching the Paz video and watching Pigman's videos, did messages on Twitter to say, I think this is fake and you're obviously telling a story, which is in some ways at this stage, as long as they're willing to play along with it, is the reaction I want. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I want anymore. I sort of wanted people, that is kind of what I want, is I want people to go, okay, we're watching a story, I want to see what happens. Anyway, if you want to see all this unfold, it is unfolding at Paz vs. Stuff's the name of the series. I'm going to leave it there because there's someone coming and it's too loud here. So, goodbye.